Tommy, why don't you begin with us and tell us your impressions about seeing the home?
Well, it is a wonderful thing, you know. My parents would be, they would think this is unbelievable. And Joanne and I and Tara and everybody in our family is honored to have this administration building rebuilt, and the house that we lived in for many, many years, house number 266. And we thank you for coming today and sharing our passion and our love for this community and our house and our administration building. Thank you so much for letting us come and be with you today. And thank you so much for all of your compliments and your questions.
To say that we're overwhelmed would be not even close. First of all and foremost of all, Tommy and Tara and I want to thank Ruth Hawkins and Paula and so many, many, many of you that have worked diligently and with so hard, such hard work. Thank you. There's not even words to put together to say how we feel today and to bring our family members and walk through our past and our upbringing. Everything in the house is, Tommy and I agree that it's perfect. I don't know of anything that was wrong.
They got the passion. They picked the passion.
To walk into Mom and Daddy's bedroom and to walk into mine and Reva's bedroom where Johnny slept, and especially, more than anything, to see where Jack slept and the pillow that Tara brought that was Jack's. This is a beginning for me to come back many times. I think we're probably going to keep Highway 61 hot. Coming back to Dyce to bring our friends. We have many friends and family members that couldn't come today that can't wait to see it. So it's a new beginning, and for our immediate family, for our children, for Rhonda and Fallon, and for all of our family and all of you that have become our family. There's not words to say, but we thank you with all our hearts, and we'll be back.
Let's have a round of applause for Paula Jean.
Ruth Hawkins.
Ruth, thank you so much.
I'm John's youngest daughter, Tara, and I haven't been here for probably about 30 years, and Dad brought us here on his bus, and it was really close to his heart, and he would talk about growing up here all the time, and we stopped by one time, and I don't think the house was occupied at the time, and we walked around the house, and I just remember how pensive he was and how touched and moved he was walking on the land and looking in the windows, and so today was the first time I had been back since that day, and I really felt Dad there today, and I know he would be so moved and so touched and so happy to see what has been done to the home. He was such a historian, and to preserve the home that he grew up in, that you grew up in, it's unbelievable. I was so filled with emotion, and to see how you lived in such a small, beautiful, warm, love-filled home. It just filled my heart. I can't even describe the emotion I felt. I'm so touched. Thank you.
Questions? Questions for me?
Come on, y'all. You know you got questions.
I'll ask the first one
I
then.
don't know the questions.
I'll ask the first one. If you could, when you walked into the house, what was the thing that brought it home to you most? Was it seeing a room or seeing a particular object?
I felt right at home when I walked in the front door. It was like 1955 for me, 1950. or even back in the 40s, it seemed like that it was just meant to be. And I know my mother and father and my brother, Johnny Cash, would be thrilled at what's being done here. And we are so appreciative as a family for everything that's being done.
Joanne, I noticed you went right to the piano when you stepped in.
That's it. That piano, it is the original piano. It's Mama's piano. And the songbooks that are on the piano, some of them I believe are original. And Mama used to play that piano. I know when she would sit down and play that piano, it was such a peaceful thing for her, with all the drudgery and the hard work of a farm and the house and the family. When she would sit down at that piano and play, it was like a healing thing for her. And my daughter sat down today and played that piano. And I felt like Tommy did, that we'd walk back home. They say you can't go back, but Tommy and I got to go back today.
Yes, we did.
And we thank you for that.
One thing I noticed Tommy gravitate to that I want to mention was the radio. You went pretty much straight for the radio.
You know, my daddy bought a Hallicrafters radio back when I was just a little boy, and we used to listen to the news and WMCT in Memphis, or WMPS
Yeah,
on that
WPS.
radio, and
Wow.
WMC and WREC. And we're just so glad that we got to be a part of that.
How'd you remember that?
What?
How'd you remember that?
I love that old radio.
I know you did.
That's all we had. We had no TV, no running water.
John used to, we grew peanuts, and we grew popcorn. And John used to make cocoa and sugar fudge and put peanuts in it. And boy, we'd sit there or he would listen to the radio, gangbusters, and especially gospel music, and eat that fudge and popcorn till we got sick.
So many of the grandkids and the extended family today may have been experiencing this for the first time. Maybe on behalf of them, express how that was.
Well, my son Alex is here today, and he loved the house. He thought it was cool and wanted to, live there. I'd love to live in a house like this. I think that the beauty of the simplicity in our chaos of today's world is so refreshing. To come into a home that's just so simple. There's nothing, no clutter, and it's refreshing. But I think the impact, being only 14, as he gets older, he'll realize how special this trip is. But I'm so grateful to have the opportunity to bring, my children here.
Rhonda, why don't you come over and say a few words? Is that okay?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Here,
We've got
come
one
over
extra
here.
mic here.
Sit.
Have a seat.
Sit over here.
Anybody else want?
Rhonda's a talker. She can tell you lots of stuff. This is my youngest daughter. I have 2 daughters and a son, and this is my baby.
Well,
She's beautiful. She looks just like me.
I've been coming to Dice almost every year for the past, 5 or 6 years, and to see it progress the way that it has, it's just been amazing. And my grandmother Cash taught me how to play piano, and that's why that piano meant so much to me, because she couldn't read a note, nor can I read a note, but we just know where to put our fingers. And so every time I touch a piano, it reminds me of her, but to be able to literally touch hers and play, it was pretty overwhelming. And who gets to go back to their mother's home when she was a child? And all my cousins, Tara and I, and all of my cousins are going to get to see this for many years to come, and that's just something that just doesn't happen. So it's just a true blessing, and Miss Ruth has been wonderful through all of this. So now I get to bring my daughter and pass all these wonderful treasures to our families and our generations to come.
Question from here in the media.
Yeah, hi, Jonathan Reeves, KASU Radio on the campus of Arkansas State. Good morning or good afternoon to you. You've been talking about the wonderful process that's been going on to being able to kind of restore the home. Kind of tell us about how you've been working with Ruth Hawkins to be able to do that. I've heard that y'all been going through, trying to find stuff painstakingly to match exactly how it was. Can you talk about that? Maybe some interesting finds as you've been going through the process, please? I think it's a fascinating story.
Go ahead, Joanne.
I've communicated with Ruth just extremely often. And when I was here and went through the house with Ruth, we did some video recording on it. But I lived the first 17 years of my life in that house. And I remember where every table was, the curtains, the lamps. And what I didn't remember, Ruth would email me back and forth with pictures. Was it like this or was it like this? And I would choose, even over email. And little by little, when we'd come back and forth, every piece that she found and that I found kind of found its place. And oh my goodness, it's been a a wonderful process, and a whole lot of tears, a whole lot of love. And every plate, every item that you see in the house was where it was. And if it wasn't the original, it was one just like it. So many people have donated different items. And I had a particular older lady that would come to me and say, here, this is from that era. This is from that era. I said, but we didn't have that. What you see in the house is what we had. And Mama it was very, as you see, it was very simple. There was nothing expensive in the house. The table that John made right here in this administration building, there's one duplicated and put in the house. Each item was handpicked. And it's been joy. It's been such a joy.
Well, let's thank our Cash family members for joining us.